Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Curiosity Catalyst podcast. My name is Mitch South. I am a structural engineer with a passion for learning and a forever student of life. This podcast will cover a wide range of subjects based on things that I've learned, stories that I want to share, and conversations with some incredible people. I've never thought of myself as someone worthy to guide others through the intricacies of life, but through time, consistency, and a colossal amount of effort, my hope is that one day I will become someone greater. Thank you so much for listening. Okay, well, welcome everybody. This is episode 1. It's really good to be here. So with each podcast, I wanted to start with a quote, some quote that's made a big impact on me. I love quotes. They resonate with me, and I just love how concise they're able to put in a little bit of truth or just something that will impact how you live or how you act. So the quote that I have is from Isaac Newton, and it goes, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." Now, this quote I heard a few years ago, and it stuck with me. It's been kind of a big thing for me because, and I don't know why, but I have something in me that just is so grateful for the things that people have done before me. All of the people who have come before and all of the geniuses that have laid the groundwork so that I can be where I am. Everything in our life, literally everything. Your computer, your iPhone, whatever you're watching this on, this microphone, the light, the table, the clothes you're wearing, the products that you wash your hair with. It doesn't matter. Everything in our life is here because somebody else put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and now we get to enjoy the benefits of it. Now, it's really interesting. So walking through the hallways at my university, I go to Brigham Young University, I notice a lot of pictures of people that I have no idea who they are, people that I've never heard about, and the only thing that I know about them is usually there's a little plaque with their name at the bottom, and sometimes it says what they did or what they do. Doesn't say any information, how long they were there, what contributions they made, anything like that. But as I stand and look at some of these people, and I think about what it took to get their picture on that wall, to have their plaque underneath their name. And, it's kind of daunting because there's so many people, millions, hundreds of millions of people that have contributed to education, to learning, and a lot of times they don't ever get any credit. We kind of just forget about them. Yeah, sure, they have the picture up on the wall, but after it's over, nobody remembers. And so it kind of just made me think about it. And from time to time, I'll stop and just pause for a second, look at them, and just think about each one of them. It's kind of a strange, habit, but it just makes me grateful for everybody that's been before me, my parents, all of my ancestors, and then on top of that, just all of the geniuses that the world has produced. So I kind of, as I was thinking about it, it just reminded me of taking a breath, right? So when you take a breath, you inevitably forget how important breathing is, right? You never think about the fact that your next breath, if you weren't able to take it, you'd suffocate. So we are essentially one breath away from dying. And you may be able to, for a second, be grateful and think about that breath, but when it comes down to it, life goes on. Your focus changes, and you have to think about something else. And so I think it's important to focus on some of these little um, seemingly insignificant things in our lives, because they make such a big difference. Now, I wanted to um, start this podcast off with that quote, but I also I wanted to talk about why I decided to create a podcast, why I decided to do this. So for a long time, I've had people even suggest to me that I should make a podcast, that I should do things, because I get really passionate at times. Sometimes I look stoic, but I have something in me that just gets really excited, and um, I never wanted to. I never wanted to really put myself out there, and it stemmed from something a long time ago, back when I was in high school. Probably, I graduated high school 8 years ago, so it would have been at least 10. That when I had started posting a little bit, and I was kind of full of myself a little bit, and as I was posting stuff, someone sent me an anonymous message. And when I saw the anonymous message, it said something really mean. And even though it pains me, it got to me. And I kind of stopped posting. I would post occasionally, randomly, um, maybe once or twice a year. But I didn't really have any I didn't really have any reason. I didn't really want fame. I didn't want my name out there. And a big reason was I didn't really want to be criticized um, behind my back and just let people do what they wanted with me. Um, and I think that there is some merit to that. But when it comes down to it, I I don't need to, and no one should be held back by what other people think. You only have one life; it's short, and so if you aren't gonna just go for it, you're not gonna put yourself out there and absorb some risk. Then, like, what's the purpose, man? What's the purpose of life? So that was kind of that was the idea. But originally, I talked with a couple of friends, some of my really good friends, and I wouldn't have done this without them. So thank you to Dylan Vanderhooft and Caleb Bodley. They also have podcasts. We all kind of started. Dylan started first, and then me and Caleb kind of jumped on. But I talked with Caleb and Dylan a while back about wanting to start a podcast for the sole reason of not fame, not money, but just learning how to talk, learning how to present myself. Just because of posting myself in the media before and being criticized for it, I hated how I looked when I would watch videos. When I'd see myself in pictures, I would just think to myself, what in the world are you doing? Why are you holding yourself like that? Why are you talking like that? It was really uncomfortable. It still is uncomfortable, actually, to be in front of a camera. But uh, anyways, we got together with this group, and one of my friends, Caleb, he started talking, and we got together, and he said, "You know what? I'm doing this podcast thing," and I was like, "Really? Oh, that's cool." And he said, "Yeah, I'm doing it because I need to learn. In 5 years, I want to become the type of person that is able to that people want to listen to on a podcast." And I agreed, and I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about." And he said, "I want to video myself too." And I was like, "Oh, video? Oh gosh, that's awesome, because I'm uncomfortable with this." And so it's kind of breaking that fear a little bit for me. So anyways, that's kind of how it started. And to give you a little bit of background, my friends are awesome. They're amazing, all of them. But Caleb is especially special just because he's done some really hard things in his life. He went to the Naval Academy, which I don't know if many people know, but it's incredibly hard to get into. I didn't even realize at all how hard it was to get into. I kind of thought that it was almost You do it if you don't really, if you just want to be in the military. And they'll let you in. But it's not like that at all. In fact, they only accept 8%. 8% of applicants. So their class is 1,200, 1,300 people, and that's the 8% that get enrolled. And what he was telling me, Caleb was telling me, is that out of those 1,100, 1,200 students, only about 200 will go try out for Navy SEALs. Now, trying out for a Navy SEAL, they only allow in 25%. That's typically the number that get through training. And I got that from the Navy, like NavySEAL.org or whatever it was, .gov. And as I was looking at it, I was looking at the numbers, right? So that's 25% of people who get in. So 8% of applicants. So if you take 100 people, 8% would be 8. Okay. So 8% is 8. Then if you take 20%, that's the amount of people that roughly, even lower than that, but about 20% of that will go and try to become a SEAL. So that's 1.6% of the initial starters that went into the academy. So 1.6% of people who applied to the Naval Academy will end up trying to become a SEAL. So out of that 1.6%, 25% make it. So 0.4%. And out of that 0.4% of people who become a Navy SEAL, almost all of them get in with their roommate. Now, I don't know about you, but the chances of that are crazy. And so the reason that is, and the reason that so many get in with a roommate, is that these Navy SEALs will get together and they will find like-minded people, and they will push each other and hold each other accountable, so that they will be able to reach greater. Now, Caleb also told me, and I'm kind of stealing this, he even used it in his podcast, but he told me about a story where Nelson Mandela talked about a hand. And on the hand, each finger individually isn't very important. It's, some are more important than others, but they're not really very strong. But together, they're incredibly strong, incredibly useful. So that was the purpose of the group. The purpose was to help each other, to build each other, so that we would be able to kind of support and be accountable to one another for our goals. So once a week, we check in, we call each other, and we call each other once a month, and we go over our goals. And once a week, we just check to see if we completed our goal or not. They just say yes or no. And we hold each other to that. And if you're not going to give effort into trying to complete these goals, then you're out of the group. So that's the mastermind group that we created. And we have standards, and we have things that we want to accomplish, and we're going to be able to accomplish a lot more with each other than we would by ourselves. So anyways, I wanted to kind of finish up with a story of one of my friends that I have here at BYU. He was, for privacy reasons, I won't say his name, but he was telling me, I'll call him Jim. So Jim was just enjoying his summer vacation. He was in high school. He didn't have anything to do that week, and his dad came up to him and he said, "Hey, Jim, do you have anything going on?" And he said, "No, I don't really have anything." And he said, "Why?" And his dad said, "Oh, okay, your uncle might come and ask you a question." He's like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." And his uncle came in and he had a serious look on his face. And his uncle worked with big investment groups, so they would collect a whole bunch of money, and then they would go invest it, and try to help people make money. So his uncle came up to him and he said, "Hey Jim, I need a favor. I have a really big important meeting down here in California, and I don't have time to get to the treasury in the morning, or to the place where we're going to go buy all these bonds. And so I need you to take this money to go purchase all of these different bonds." And he said, "I've already contacted the person that's there. Don't worry, he'll take care of you. So all you need to do is you need to get on a flight, and we need to purchase, because it's already after hours, and we need to get there before it opens tomorrow morning." And so my friend Jim said, "What? Like, wait, I'm confused. What are you talking about?" And he said, "I just need you to take this bag. It has $50 million in it." So he hands him the bag, and Jim said he was just so worried. He's just stressed about it. He couldn't stop thinking about it. And so his uncle gets him a ticket, and he flies. I think it was either in Chicago or Washington, where he goes, and he said the entire time that he was in the airport, he was just looking down at the bag. He was clenching that thing. He wouldn't let it go. No matter what, he was just keeping his eye on that thing the whole time, because he knew they had $50 million. That's crazy. So as he was riding, which that's a crazy amount of trust to put in a kid. He was only 17 or 18, and he gets off the plane, and he gets on the street, throws it in his backpack, or he has his backpack, throws it on his back, and gets on his skateboard and rides to the office. And when he gets to the office, there's a man that he was supposed to meet, and so he goes up and he says, "Hey, I need to meet this man." And they said, "Okay, yeah, we'll give him the package." And he said, "Nope, I have to meet this man." And he was insistent. He wouldn't let go of the bag. And they finally allowed him to go see this guy. And he hands him the bag, and the guy says thank you, and he got it there on time, and he goes home. And a couple of weeks later, his dad comes up to him and he says, "Hey Jim, I didn't," or no, his uncle came up to him and he said, "Hey, I didn't want to stress you out when you were doing that whole thing, so I only told you that it was $50 million, but in reality, it was $6 billion." He had no idea that it was $6 billion because his uncle didn't want to stress him out. He didn't want him to think about the risk and be too worried, and feel like he wasn't able to do it. But with $50 million, Jim felt like he could handle that risk, even though it was a huge amount of risk. But $6 billion was almost so much it just seemed unrealistic. I think in life we tend to have some of these moments. We have opportunities that to us may seem like we can handle it. It's not that big of a deal. When in reality, it's a gold mine. We don't even understand and can't fathom how important it is that we use the opportunities and things that we have in our arms. A lot of people, I think, they look at what's around them. They look at the opportunities that they have. And to them, it isn't much. And there's nothing they can really do with it. They look at all of the things, their circumstances, all of the things holding them back from these opportunities. And I'm one of them. I've been one of them for a long time. In fact, I've been so much one of them that I'm almost passionately pro other people living their dreams. It's almost like I want to live vicariously through them, because I want it so bad, and I was afraid. I was terrified, and I didn't realize that I was being a coward. but I was hiding through me wanting other people to be successful, which is strange, but it's true. All of us have dreams and things that we want. So my I guess what I'm saying is I want to encourage all of you to look at the opportunities that you have around you, and take advantage of them. Take full advantage. Understand how important the time that you have is, and take advantage of it, man. Don't let it hold you back. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for staying with me through this podcast. If you've made it to the end, um, I'm going to continue to try to get better. This podcast is probably really rough, this first episode, and it will be for a while. So I appreciate your support and for watching through. My goal is to just keep getting better. I hope after hopefully years of doing this, that I'll improve a lot. So thank you so much.